little bit.
Okay. I know that you're a musician as well. You play Afro Caribbean music,
Yeah.
and that plays in a lot into your culinary point of view. And I want you to talk about that some.
So, so I am a cultural worker. I am a musician for the last 20 years or so. I've been playing a music, an Afro Puerto Rican music called bomba music. And bomba music is something that, again, like a lot of the food that I cook, it is not a commercial music. It is, especially 20 years ago, it was really something that you had to seek out. It was something that really wasn't easy to find. Now there's kind of a boom, a resurgence of this music, but it's heavy percussion, it's dancing, it's chanting. It's also a music of resistance in Puerto Rico. So when what I mean by that is when there was the ousting of the governor in Puerto Rico, Ricky Rosselló. Now bomba was at the forefront. You would see bomba groups with their drums playing out in front, just chanting and resisting against the Puerto Rican government.
Wow.
And so what's so crazy is that our one of the themes uh, to a lot of the protests that have popped up,
Mm.
especially in Puerto Rico or wherever there's bomba music, has been the song of Buya, my group, which is called Candela, which really speaks up against police brutality and the abuse of the authorities against the people. And so Candela is a song that you hear it played over and over at these bombas or wherever the bomba music is.
Wow, that's pretty heavy. So that song must be popular in this day and age. It's got to have a lot of impact right now.
Yeah, sadly, it's the theme over and it's the anthem over and over and over again because of all the things that are going on around the world, even in Chicago, or especially right now today in Chicago.
Right. So let's get back to the food. So have you been influenced by, like your mom or grandmother in some of the dishes that you've made, or the dishes that are kind of in your repertoire?
Yeah, all the time. I did an event a few years ago called Los Platos de Mami Cruz, which translates to the plates of Mami Cruz. That's my great great grandmother, whose father was actually from the town, from the country or the island of Saint John. And so he then came to Puerto Rico. And so it was kind of like a British island type of spin. And so all of these dishes, I decided that what I wanted to do was do a dinner or an event and recreate all of her dishes.
Wow.
And so, with the help of my family and the blessing of my family, because I don't want to feel like I'm ever exploiting
Hmm.
um, their lives, and with their blessing, I was able to do it. And I feel like that's something that I want to continue to do is honor my ancestors and those who have come before me.
So what were some of the dishes that you recreated? Can you talk about those?
So yeah, for sure. So what's funny or not funny is that my mom talks about often being a vegetarian because not necessarily because they didn't like meat, but because they couldn't afford meat.
Mm.
So meat wasn't something that was readily available to them. So a lot of eggplant, things like corn, things like okra, a lot of these things that we often a lot of beans, just these things to give us protein um, in those times of poverty.
Hmm. Did you put your own modern spin on these dishes?
Yeah, I always do. I always do. One of the focuses that I have is that I want to make also the food natural, and I also want to make it healthy. So so I always just back then there were a lot of things that were used that were maybe less expensive, maybe like lard, and so I just I'll pick something like a healthier oil, and I also want to make it presentable. I wanted to to look beautiful. I have to explain it to everyone so that they know, okay, well, this is what it is, this is what the story is, because every dish has a story, and so I want to tell the story of my ancestors.
That is awesome. That is so great. It just gives me chills when I hear people talking about their ancestors and their heritage, and a lot of times people trace that through food. So I find that so fascinating that you've done that. That and being a chef, I mean, it's a little easier for you to do that than the average person, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's a big, that's what I mean about just feeling so blessed that I'm able to do and work in my passion, because this is what I love, and I'm able to do that, and make a dollar out of it. That's so wonderful. I'm not working the 9 to 5, working for somebody else. I'm working for myself, and I'm so happy about that, and being self-taught.
Right. Yes. So, um, you're a chef, Roberto, and you're Latin American. And I feel like Latin American cuisine and Caribbean cuisine is getting a lot of attention. So, are there a bunch of chefs out there that you could name check, or do you want to talk about, or just talk about some of the things that you see that people are doing?